High creatinine 3 spices you can safely eat and 3 you must never eat. Many people with stage 3 or higher kidney disease try to eat cleaner, but still overlook the small triggers raising creatinine. Spices are one of the most sneaky culprits, but a few can actually support kidney comfort when used right. What I reveal at number 4 might completely change how you season your food. Keep watching because a powerful bonus tip at the end can really solve your problems. Our first focus is something known for calming inflammation signals that often worsen kidney symptoms. People with reduced filtration tolerate it well when used in careful amounts. It blends easily in warm meals and settles the stomach too. We begin with ginger. Ginger is often seen as a simple kitchen ingredient, but for someone with stage 3 or above kidney disease, it becomes more than flavor. Ginger contains natural compounds such as gingerol and shogaol that gently support kidney tissue by calming inflammatory signals that can aggravate the filtration process. When inflammation decreases inside the kidney structure, the glomeruli experience less pressure, and this allows creatinine to clear more steadily rather than accumulate. Many kidney patients struggle with low-level systemic inflammation, and ginger provides mild calming support that helps reduce that underlying biochemical stress. Harvard has examined ginger's digestive support properties, showing that when digestion improves, the gut produces fewer metabolic waste compounds, and that means less filtration load for damaged kidneys that are already struggling. Someone with reduced kidney function often deals with uremic toxins building up in the bloodstream because the kidneys cannot move waste efficiently. Ginger can help slow that build-up by supporting smoother digestive transit and reducing fermentation in the gut, which lowers the quantity of nitrogenous waste that ends up entering the bloodstream. When the gut has less pressure and less undigested residue, there is slightly less material that the kidneys must filter, which may help slow rising creatinine. Many people with declining kidney function also experience nausea, especially after meals or when toxins accumulate. Ginger naturally supports the digestive nerve pathways that influence nausea response, and this can bring real comfort during day-to-day life. The ideal amount for kidney patients is 1 to 2 grams of powdered ginger per day, or about 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. More is not better because too much ginger can stimulate digestion too strongly and may irritate sensitive stomach lining or affect blood thinning if taken in excess. It works best earlier in the day, ideally morning or midday, because the body processes it more comfortably, and the digestive system is more active during that time. Some people take it late at night, but that may stimulate digestive activity at a time when the kidneys should be resting, rather than processing active metabolic reactions. When shopping, fresh ginger should feel firm, have a pleasant warm aroma, and should not be soft, fibrous, or dull. If choosing powdered ginger, it is important to check the label and make sure there are no fillers, stabilizers, or anti-caking agents because those additives add unnecessary chemicals that kidneys must process. Ginger teas from commercial brands often include citrus flavoring and citric acid, which can irritate bladder and kidney tissue, so it is better to make fresh ginger tea at home. One simple option is warming water with a small amount of ginger and cinnamon without any lemon, because acidity can be harsh for kidneys. Ginger also works well in steamed vegetables or mixed with a little olive oil, and a tiny amount of honey is acceptable if not diabetic. However, ginger can thin the blood slightly, so if a person is using blood-thinning medication, they should talk to a medical professional before adding daily ginger. It is also better to avoid extremely concentrated ginger shots that push too much of its active compounds into the system at once. For those with reduced kidney function, the goal is steady, gentle support rather than intense stimulation. One gentle helper down. Now we move to a spice that supports blood pressure balance and vascular health for kidney protection, and that is coriander seed. Before we continue, I'd love to know where you're watching from and how long you've been dealing with high creatinine at stage 3 or above. If you're working to support kidney function and reduce filtration stress, make sure to subscribe to Kidnease and turn on notifications. And if this content helps you, comment 1 or 0 if it did not. I want to keep improving for you. Coriander seed is often overlooked because it has a mild taste, yet for someone with weakened kidney filtration, it can provide subtle and meaningful support. Coriander contains the compound linalool, which supports smoother nervous system function, and when the nerves are calmer, the kidneys experience less vascular constriction. Many people with kidney decline deal with blood pressure irregularities that increase glomerular strain, and coriander helps soften that internal pressure. Anyone who has stage 3 kidney disease or higher understands how tightly connected blood pressure and creatinine levels are, and coriander offers a gentle effect in that balance. Another important benefit is coriander's effect on glucose control. Even mild insulin resistance increases metabolic waste output, and this can raise creatinine faster than people realize. Coriander may support more stable glucose levels, which means fewer glycation byproducts circulating for the kidneys to filter. In addition, coriander has a mild sodium balancing effect, helping prevent excessive fluid retention that often leads to swollen ankles or nighttime fluid shifts. The University of Michigan has studied digestive plant compounds and noted coriander seeds support a smoother digestive tract environment, which indirectly reduces internal toxin load. When the gut is calmer and less inflamed, there is a reduction in compounds that generate additional waste for kidney processing. People with kidney disease often experience irregular digestion and occasional discomfort after meals due to slowed motility and altered metabolism. Coriander supports that by helping digestion happen in a more natural rhythm. At this point, I want to ask something. Have you personally noticed that certain meals make you feel heavier or less comfortable, almost as if digestion is slower than it used to be? If so, that is a real sign of how closely the gut and kidneys interact, and this spice may help make that process more manageable. A safe daily amount is about 1/2 teaspoon of coriander powder or crushed coriander seed. Some people prefer whole seeds because they keep their potency longer. You can soak whole seeds overnight and drink the infused water the next day for a very gentle version, or you can grind them and add directly to meals. It can be taken before or during meals to support digestion and metabolic handling of food. When buying, choose plain coriander seed or powder without lime flavoring or added citric acid, because acidity is stressful for kidney tissue. Whole seeds are usually better quality than pre-ground versions, which lose freshness faster. For storage, keep it sealed in a cool, dark cabinet so oils inside the seeds stay stable. Coriander is low in potassium and low in phosphorus, which is very important for kidney patients who are often told by their doctors to keep both minerals under control. It supports kidney comfort rather than overstimulating the system. Many people find it easy to integrate in soups, mild stews, or infused oils used in gentle cooking. If this is helping you understand which spices support or stress weak kidneys, please take a second to like this video. It tells YouTube this matters and helps Kidnease reach more kidney patients who need it. If you believe someone else could benefit from this knowledge, tap that thumbs up. We have now boosted digestive and vascular support, and now we focus on calming kidney stress and supporting inflammatory balance with the next spice, which is turmeric. Turmeric is often praised for its bright color and earthy flavor, but for someone with stage 3 or above kidney disease, it has specific biochemical value that goes far beyond taste. Turmeric contains curcumin, which is known for supporting inflammatory balance, and that is incredibly important because ongoing inflammation inside the kidneys puts pressure on the fragile filtration units that determine creatinine clearance. When curcumin helps calm that inflammatory activity, the kidneys experience less structural irritation, and this reduces the strain that often worsens creatinine levels. Curcumin also supports reduction of oxidative stress, which is a condition where harmful molecules known as free radicals stress the kidney tissue. Oxidative stress accelerates kidney cell fatigue and aging, but turmeric helps slow this damage by supporting antioxidant activity inside the body. Johns Hopkins researchers have discussed the immune-modulating effects of curcumin, which may also help the immune system avoid overreacting inside compromised kidney environments. Many kidney patients are not told that indirect effects matter just as much as direct kidney support. Turmeric does not directly lower creatinine, but it helps reduce the overall filtration burden by encouraging the body to produce fewer inflammatory byproducts, which means fewer waste compounds end up needing to be filtered. This is a subtle but powerful benefit for someone whose kidneys are working at partial capacity. The safe daily amount is very small, around 1/4 to 1/2 of a teaspoon per day, which is enough to get benefit without overburdening the system. Turmeric must always be mixed with a fat source, like olive oil or coconut oil, because its beneficial compounds are fat-soluble. Without fat, most of the curcumin will pass through the digestive system unused. Many people make the mistake of taking turmeric with black pepper because of online trends that say it boosts absorption, but that method increases piperine absorption, and piperine can stress kidney metabolism and increase inflammatory load, which is counterproductive for kidney patients. Have you ever tried turmeric daily, and did you feel any difference in joint stiffness or kidney comfort? Comment below. This is an important question because body feedback often reveals what blood tests cannot show clearly. When buying turmeric powder, it should have a deep orange-golden color because that indicates higher curcumin content. Cheaper versions that are bright yellow often contain dyes or fillers that add unnecessary chemicals for the kidneys to process. It should be stored in a cool, dark cabinet to protect the natural oils inside the spice and prevent degradation of its beneficial compounds. A good recipe for kidney patients is mixing a small amount of turmeric into a plain yogurt alternative that is not dairy, because dairy can be problematic for some kidney patients due to phosphorus. Another option is mixing turmeric with olive oil and using it for low-heat cooking, since high heat destroys some beneficial compounds. It is important to note that turmeric supplements often contain highly concentrated extracts that may push too much curcumin into the system at once, and that can be stressful for weakened kidneys. Also, avoid pairing turmeric with high potassium juices like orange or tomato, because kidney patients often struggle with potassium buildup, and that can worsen cardiac and muscular issues. Gentle, low-dose, fat-paired use is the safest approach. So we have covered the safe spices ginger, coriander, and turmeric, but now we need to switch directions and protect your kidneys from the spices that increase creatinine or add filtration stress. We will begin with a widely used seasoning known as paprika. Paprika is commonly used in many everyday foods, but for someone with reduced kidney function, it carries hidden risks that are not always obvious on the surface. Many commercial paprika products contain added salt, which directly increases the sodium burden on the body. Sodium forces the kidneys to hold and process more fluid, which worsens swelling, blood pressure, and creatinine buildup. People with stage 3 kidney disease often already struggle with fluid retention, and the extra sodium from paprika mixes makes the kidneys work harder rather than easier. Paprika also tends to have a naturally higher oxalate content, and oxalates can increase kidney filtration stress and contribute to crystal formation, which is the last thing a compromised filtration system needs. UCLA nephrology professionals have noted that irritant spices can aggravate kidney and bladder linings, increasing discomfort and triggering a mild stress response inside the urinary system. Many people assume paprika is harmless because it is mild in flavor, but paprika still stimulates a heat receptor response in the kidneys that can increase vascular constriction and metabolic load. The problem is worse in the versions of paprika sold in many grocery stores in the United States, because these often contain preservatives and artificial colorants to make them look brighter. Those additives require additional filtering, and a damaged kidney is already working at reduced capacity. Some people ask whether tiny amounts of paprika are acceptable. For someone with stage 3 or above kidney disease, it is best to avoid paprika completely, because even small daily exposures accumulate over time and create unnecessary burden. In extremely rare cases, if a paprika product is certified additive-free and salt-free and used only on occasion, the risk is lower, but most people do not check labels closely enough. When reading packaging, if the word smoked or seasoned appears anywhere on the label, it is almost guaranteed to contain sodium and often hidden flavor enhancers. Also avoid any chili paprika blends, because blended spice mixes nearly always contain salt, pepper, or preservatives. Have you ever noticed that after eating heavily seasoned foods, especially barbecue-style or red-colored seasoning blends, you feel more thirsty or slightly bloated afterward? That thirst and post-meal heaviness are a sign of sodium and additives pushing the kidneys to compensate. Paprika is one of those ingredients that seems innocent, but quietly adds strain in places where weak kidneys cannot afford stress. Protecting kidney function at stage 3 or above is as much about avoiding harmful ingredients as it is about adding helpful ones. That awareness is critical, because the difference between supporting the kidneys and stressing them often comes down to tiny repeated choices. Paprika can quietly load your kidneys with sodium stress, but wait until you hear about this next one, which is black pepper. Black pepper is something almost everyone uses by habit, but for someone with reduced kidney function, it is not as harmless as it seems. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, and that compound increases intestinal permeability, which basically means it allows more substances to cross from the gut into the bloodstream. That might sound beneficial at first, but for a kidney patient, this means more unwanted metabolites, waste particles, and inflammatory signals entering circulation and eventually landing on the kidneys to process. When the kidneys are already filtering at a limited capacity, every unnecessary molecule that enters the bloodstream adds to the overall workload. Over time, this can subtly raise waste concentration in the blood and led to higher laboratory readings of creatinine. Another issue is that piperine overstimulates digestion, causing increased gut activity. When digestion is accelerated in this way, more metabolic byproducts are created during food breakdown, and these byproducts become additional waste that the kidneys must filter. This is one of the reasons some kidney patients feel fatigued or mentally foggy after meals with heavy pepper seasoning, because the body is dealing with both digestion and filtration stress at the same time. Black pepper also has a mild irritant effect on the kidney's delicate filtering structures and can cause micro-level vascular constriction around those tissues. When that happens repeatedly, it subtly reduces filtration efficiency and places more pressure on already weakened nephrons. People often combine black pepper with turmeric because they have heard it boosts curcumin absorption. This may be true for the average person, but for a kidney patient, it backfires. Increasing curcumin absorption too aggressively raises metabolic load and pushes concentrated compounds into the bloodstream that a compromised kidney struggles to handle. Many get this wrong because they follow advice intended for healthy bodies, not renal patients. If someone absolutely must use black pepper, it should be only the smallest pinch possible, not a casual sprinkle, and ideally not on a daily basis. Some kidney patients switch to mild herbs like thyme or rosemary instead, because these do not contain piperine and do not increase digestive permeability. And now we reach the big one, the most dangerous spice for anyone with reduced kidney filtration, and that is cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is often associated with boosting energy or speeding up metabolism, but for someone with compromised kidney function, it is one of the most problematic seasonings that can be used. Cayenne contains capsaicin, and capsaicin overstimulates receptors not only in the mouth, but also throughout the bladder and kidney pathways. When these receptors are triggered, they send strong nerve signals that heighten inflammatory messaging, which creates more internal stress. This stimulates the kidneys to respond aggressively, and that internal stress response can increase creatinine buildup by placing greater strain on the filtration cells. Capsaicin increases inflammatory load inside the body, which means more inflammatory molecules circulate in the bloodstream. These compounds eventually reach the kidneys, and they force the kidneys to interact with them, even though they are already overworked. The University of Chicago has discussed how capsaicin can influence sensitive metabolic conditions and trigger stress in organs that are already strained. Many kidney patients who consume cayenne regularly do not connect it to increased urgency, frequent urination, and nighttime awakenings to urinate. But this is a common reaction. Cayenne can also promote dehydration because it creates heat-based water loss, which leads to thicker blood concentration. When blood volume loses water and becomes more concentrated, creatinine levels can appear higher simply due to reduced dilution. For kidney patients, there is really no safe portion of cayenne. It should be avoided in all forms, especially as powdered seasoning, because powdered cayenne is highly concentrated and delivers potent capsaicin exposure quickly. It is also important to avoid hot sauce derivatives, because these often contain not only cayenne, but vinegar, salt, and preservatives, which again add stress to the kidneys. Cayenne is also hidden in many popular barbecue rubs used for grilling meat, and it appears in many spicy chicken or buffalo-flavored seasoning mixes. People consuming these foods often have no idea that the hidden heat component is cayenne pepper or cayenne extract. There is also a widespread misconception that spicy foods are always beneficial because they stimulate metabolism. That might be true for someone with strong kidney function, but for someone with kidney disease, increased metabolism equals increased waste production, and this creates additional work for the kidneys. So the myth is that spicy foods are healthy for everyone, and the fact is that for kidney disease, they add inflammatory burden, increase internal metabolic waste, and stress kidney filtration. We have now gone through the 3 worst spices for kidney patients, which are paprika, black pepper, and cayenne. And now, before the final summary, I want to share a practical non-food habit that can genuinely support creatinine reduction, which is evening warm hand immersion. Evening warm hand immersion may sound simple, but there is a deep physiological logic behind it that matters a lot for someone with kidney disease at stage 3 or higher. When you place your hands in warm water for around 12 to 18 minutes, the blood vessels in your hands and wrists gradually expand, and this pulls blood away from your kidney region and toward your extremities. That shift in circulation lowers internal vascular pressure on the kidneys, which can help ease the strain on the filtration system. Many kidney patients deal with mild blood pressure spikes in the evening before bed, and this practice encourages a parasympathetic nervous system response, which promotes calm, reduces internal tension, and allows the body to settle into a lower pressure state. This matters because the kidneys function best when the blood pressure is controlled and steady rather than fluctuating. Doing this 1 hour before bed gives the body enough time to respond to the heat exposure before sleep. During that time, the kidneys get a break from the constant micro-stress of vascular tightness and filtration overload. Some people like to add a tiny pinch of Epsom salt into the water, since magnesium can support muscle relaxation through the skin. But this should be avoided by diabetics with neuropathy or anyone with compromised skin sensitivity. Anyone using this method should aim for consistency rather than intensity, which means doing it 5 to 6 days per week, not occasionally or only when symptoms are strong. With regular use, some patients report fewer nighttime awakenings to urinate because the kidneys experience less reactive pressure shift when lying flat. This technique basically acts as a gentle circulation rebalancer, taking load off the central organs and encouraging steadier comfort in the hours leading into sleep. And now, to wrap everything up clearly and simply, we move to our final checklist. Ginger supports reduced inflammatory burden and helps ease digestive-related waste load. Coriander helps gentle glucose control and assists sodium balance. Turmeric offers antioxidant and inflammation support in small amounts. Paprika should be avoided because of hidden sodium and oxalates. Black pepper should be avoided because piperine increases absorption of unwanted compounds. Cayenne should be avoided because capsaicin triggers inflammatory and urinary stress responses. Warm hand immersion supports circulation shift and relaxation, which helps kidney pressure reduce before sleep. If this video was helpful, please don't leave without subscribing to Kidnease. Subscribe because we only focus on real guidance for people with kidney disease at stage 3 or above. And if you feel like this information supports you in a meaningful way, type relief in the comments so I know it helped.